Hi everyone, it's Marilyn O'Malley, and today I want to work with you on our three biggest fears: fear of rejection, fear of inadequacies, and fear of powerlessness. And so, fear of rejection would be that you're going to be abandoned, that you're going to end up alone, that you're worthless, you're unlovable. Fear of inadequacies is that I'm not enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not healthy enough. Whatever the enough is. And then powerlessness is I can't. A lot of can't statements, feeling out of control, feeling like you're always you're on high alert, and so you're looking for the things that are going to go wrong. And so you keep yourself from going there because you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want something to go wrong. And so I'm going to help you today through some tapping to address these. Now, who will this help? Everybody. But mainly I address highly sensitive people. So highly sensitive people who are nurturing other people, who have grown up in families usually feeling inadequate because they're highly sensitive and the rest of the family isn't, or they don't understand you. And so that there's a sense that something's broken. And so what tends to happen is in our families when we're born, right, we want to be part of the tribe. We want to be part of the family. We want to fit in. And so we will dumb ourselves down. We will dampen our spirit. We will turn our light down. We will be quiet. We will hide out in order whatever our family rules are, and how we're best treated, or we feel the safest in those situations. We will twist ourselves into showing up for our family like they want us to be. And again, it's all for survival. It's all here to help you feel safe, get your needs met, and grow, hopefully. This will also not only highly sensitives, but people pleasers, the perfectionists, which a lot of us highly sensitives are too. And again, going back, it's all of these are trauma related. If you again had a narcissistic parent, and actually the narcissist is a highly sensitive gone rogue, and had a lot of trauma, and basically ended up saying, screw this, I'm going to create my own reality and create my own world, and that's the way they found it to be safe, right? Because they're terrified of rejection, they're terrified of feeling inadequate, and they're terrified of being powerless. So that it's like, this is the bully too. The bully's been bullied, and it just said, forget it, not going to do that anymore. So you put up the armors, you put up all the defenses, and you create this world around you. So a lot of us now also, I want to go into like social media, because what happens there, right, is you're looking at your friends and other people that you've friended, or you're seeing pictures from all around the world, or hearing all these stories, and you start judging yourself on what's happening in other people's worlds, and not really realizing that what's happening in other people's worlds could be a lot of false realities, and they're just putting up a front that it's, most of it is not real, or people are just posting good things and not the rest of what's happening in their life. So to help you see what happens, your traumas get triggered in social media. Your traumas get triggered in your current relationships as an adult. Your traumas get triggered in a new job, in a new place, with new friends, in a new school. All of those insecurities, like coming into the world as a child and knowing that, the people around you have expectations about how you're supposed to show up, and you not wanting to let them down, Or if you had a perfectionist or a narcissistic parent, a lot of times probably you could never please them. There's nothing you could do. Straight A's, be the perfect person, do everything that they wanted you to do, and it still wouldn't be enough. So you kind of, again, it's kind of like, well, forget this. I'll never satisfy anybody. So it's like you feel so inadequate, and you'll never measure up. And see, that isn't really who you are, but it's how you have been programmed through your childhood traumas and conditioning that make you feel less than, make you feel abandoned. If you have a narcissistic parent, or a parent who is ill, who demands all the attention, or a parent who worked all the time, you can feel emotionally abandoned. And think that you're not worthy because they're not there for you. They don't show up like your best friend's parents or something like that. So you start seeing these different ways that how you're treated in your family or treated with friends, and you think that what happens in your family and how how they've treated you, those traumas, now you start looking for them out in the world. You start to see, if you think you're not good enough, then you start attracting people into your life, or hearing people and what do I want to say, projecting that I'm not good enough out into the rest of your world. And we're always here to prove ourselves right. So we'll have people come into our world that will keep telling us that we're not enough in one way or the other, and trigger that fear of rejection and abandonment, and feeling alone. Because if we're not good enough, then we're not going to attract people into our lives that are emotionally supportive for us, or we're not going to feel empowered to create things. So we're creating all these situations that don't feel safe, that don't feel secure, and it creates these emotions. Angry, you might be, if you're angry a lot, it's not fair. It's not fair, right? That your world is like this. But I want to help you change. And here's the thing, though, the trigger is these fears, the fear of rejection, the fear of inadequacy, and the fear of powerlessness make you not want to change anything, not want to do anything new, because there's this comfortableness in at least knowing your world now, and all of your the bad things that can happen, so you know what to do or how to prepare. It's like your hypervigilance on all the things that could go wrong, that's in your awareness. But when you go to a new place, or have a new person in your life, or a new environment like a job or a college or school or neighborhood, all of those things, or you want to become more awake, right? And the thing is, in your life, you want to raise your consciousness, you want to become more of who you really are. But these fears get in the way because you get triggered by the newness. You get triggered by the uncertainty. You get triggered by, in powerlessness, it's like you want to control things. So if you're a person who's very controlling and wants to control the people and the events and everything around you, it's because you have this fear of being powerless. And so you think, and the thing is that you want to feel in control and powerful in order to feel adequate, that you're good enough, in order to not be rejected by anybody. So it's this persona and these ideas inside of your head that really are not true, but are playing out. So just figure like these fears are like a movie script that you got as a child, and somebody said, well, this is your life, and play these out through the rest of your life. And here's the thing, it's like you can make a new movie. You can write a new script. You don't have to have these continually playing out in your life. So that's the, that's the hard part. Is like, okay, I want to do this new thing, but all of these things get triggered. So I thought today what I would do is take you through some tapping that would stop your body from going into fight or flight, and stop it from feeling afraid of these things, of these fears, that hopefully then would allow you to go into new events, to try new things, to put yourself out there in ways where you feel safe not being in control, and understanding that you are enough, that you are good enough, that you are powerful. No matter, even if you're thinking you're not powerful, you are powerful. And it's that think, and just realize, like, you thinking I'm not powerful is your power. You're creating that. Everything that you're thinking and feeling and about your life, you're creating in the world. That is power, right? So, and then the fear of, rejection is the biggest part that comes from, is we're rejecting ourselves, right? Because our childhood trauma a lot of the times is because we reject who we really are in order to fit into our family. And that's why we don't feel good. That's why it doesn't feel right. That's why we get angry. That's why we feel powerless, is because we're not living who we really are. And as we grow up and we start to go out in the world, it's why we don't feel we fit in, or we don't feel like it's us. We feel like other people are controlling us. And it is. And so as we grow up and we mature, hopefully the younger that you can, you start to pull out of you the truth of who you are, the real you, letting go of all the controls and the rules and the feelings and things that your family conditioned you, or your trauma. If you can let go of those and start to let your inner spirit shine out, then it gets really exciting. Now you can start to feel like you start to feel more empowered. But yeah, it doesn't feel good when we have to shut ourselves down and be a people pleaser and think we have to be perfect, and we're always out there like judging, what are people going to think of me if I post this, if I say this, if I show up wearing this, if I'm outspoken, if I share my true beliefs, if I I can't think of it right now, but so anything, ... right? We're all concerned about what's out there. And I think the thing is, like, the newness right now, the change I'm asking you to make is to start checking on what's in here and what really wants to be expressed, and helping these fears, helping yourself overcome these fears so that you can be successful in life. And whatever success means, anything that's making you happy and having you live in this present moment, awake and alive. So, and all of these fears also keep you in the fear of success, right? We're not afraid of failure because we can stay living in that as long as we know it. But the fear of success, the fear of doing something different, the fear of really being powerful, of, again, being enough, really shining our light, being fully who we are, and feeling connected to ourselves and to others and to the universe, that's success, right? But it's like terrifying for you if you have these fears of inadequacy, rejection, and powerlessness right now. There's this dichotomy that's playing out, right? So I want you to see that. Okay. So again, I'm not going to cover everything in this tapping, but hopefully I'm covering a lot and enough to get you going. And what I want you to do is follow along and repeat after me. After I say each sentence. And I'd like you to check in with yourself right now and just see, like, how much do I, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very true, how much am I afraid of rejection? So give it a 1, no, a 10, full on. How about the fear of inadequacy, not being good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, strong enough, healthy enough? A lot of times when something new, a career, college, how am I going to do this, 1 to 10, what is that? And then also for the fear of powerlessness. So I don't know how, I can't, I don't like change, I need to control things. So if you're a controlling person, people pleaser, you're giving your power away. And so, but it's really, you're afraid of powerlessness, but you think if you can do everything that everybody else wants you to do, then you're in control. So again, 1 to 10, and write those down. And then what I want you to do is to follow my tapping. And so what I'm going to do, say the places where I tap right now and show you. You can use 2 fingers. If you want, you can do 2 fingers on each side, tapping with both hands. And you're going to tap about 5 to 7 times on each spot, repeating what I say. And even if it doesn't feel like that's right for you right now, just go ahead and say it anyway, because it might be an underlying feeling. I find, it's like when you do this, it's like an onion, peeling an onion, and really I'm going for like the roots. I'm going for the root, and hopefully we pull out a bunch of suckers with it. And so it might be that on the surface you can feel certain things, but you don't allow yourself to go any deeper than that. But saying it, just go along with me. And if there's anything I'm missing, then go ahead and add that a couple times. Anything that I'm missing that is coming up for you, just say those out loud. Don't disregard what I'm saying, and just say it when I say something, and tap in that spot. So I only tap on certain spots. I don't do the tapping on the hand before, and even though type of, I forget what they call it. The word's not coming to me right now. The sort of the setup. It's called the setup. I don't do the setup. I just get straight into it. I don't find that I need that, and I haven't found that most of my clients that work on this need that. I would say that you could do this as many times as you like. Just keep it whenever one of these fears come up or something's there. Just keep working on it. Basically, we're looking to eventually get from a 10 to a 1 or a 0, and it will continue working after we finish for a while. So if you're at a 1 or a 2, it will go down afterwards. But like if you're at a 5 or a 7 even, just keep repeating it and doing it over time until you get it down to a 1 or a 0. And it might be that as you're doing, there's something we're not saying that's exactly fitting for you. And so feel into it, and that's what you really want to say. But I'm going to be using some good roots here to help you. So the places we're going to tap is at the very beginning of your eyebrow. So you're tapping on the very beginning inside of your eyebrow, then on the outside of your eye, right next to it on the bone there, and then right underneath the eye on the bone, and then under your nose, and then right under your bottom lip in that indentation, and then the soft spot that's right under your collarbone, and then we go to the top of the head. So that's going to be the those are going to be the points that we're going to work on. And these are meridian points that work with the brain to calm down the triggers that we get that set us into fight or flight. Okay, so here we go. All right, so we're going to start at the eyebrow. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe being me. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of being alone. And no one understands me. No one gets me. That I'm unlovable. I'm worthless. That scares me. It's painful. It feels so unsafe. And I feel so judged. And so I feel like I need to be perfect. I need to do what others want me to do, or how they want me to show up, in order to not be alone. It makes me want to run and hide. So I keep my distance from people. I only love them so much. Or I only let them in so much. Because I don't want to be rejected. Because that's so painful. Or I built a big barrier. And I judge other people. I bully them. I make them feel bad about themselves. So I don't feel alone. And sometimes I just don't feel anymore. I think about feelings, but I don't really allow myself to feel because it doesn't feel safe. And it doesn't feel safe to be me. It feels really scary, and it's very painful. I have a fear I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough or handsome enough. I'm not strong enough or sexy enough or healthy enough. I'm not outgoing enough. I'm too shy. I'm not rich enough. I'm not skinny enough. Or I'm way too much. So I shut it down. And now I just don't feel enough. And I don't think I know enough. And I'll never measure up, no matter what I do. But I'm looking for all sorts of ways to try to be enough. But it hurts because I never feel I'm enough. I'm always striving to be more, to be better, to be good enough. Because it makes me feel powerless. And I don't like feeling out of control. I don't like feeling that I'm not heard or I'm not seen or that I'm helpless. I'm not appreciated. or celebrated or loved. I'm not allowed to be me. That's the biggest one. I'm not allowed to be me. I'm powerless to be me because me doesn't feel good enough. And I feel like if I be me, then I'm going to be rejected. So I'm in a vicious circle and it doesn't feel safe. So I'm doing all sorts of things to try and find me and feel safe. And it's crazy making. Because when you feel powerless, you don't feel safe. You feel like you're all alone. Nobody cares. And I'm always hypervigilant. I'm always on high alert. So I'm always stressed. I'm always looking outwards to see, am I measuring up? Am I good enough? How are they responding to me? Did I get enough likes? Do I feel powerful? Am I controlling somebody? Or am I just a wimp? And this keeps me from doing anything else because I'm scared to do something new. Because if I'm powerless and I'm not good enough and I'm fearing rejection, why would I put myself out there? Why would I stretch? Why would I do something that would put me in jeopardy of feeling pain, of feeling the rejection, of feeling inadequate, of feeling powerless? It's crazy. So the only way I can do that is to stuff my feelings. I turn off my feelings. I've learned to turn off my feelings. So I think about my feelings rather than really feel them. And I have judgments about what feelings are okay and what feelings aren't. Or I get really angry because I feel like it's not fair. Or I'm depressed because I'm stuffing everything. I'm stuffing me for everybody else. The real me can't come out, can't shine, can't live, can't thrive. And that's depressing. And it's depressing me. And it makes me angry. And I don't know what to do about it. But now I'm starting to get a sense from doing this that it's my fears holding me back. And it isn't something real. It's my programming that has me afraid, that has me thinking I'm not enough, that has me thinking that I'm powerless, that has me thinking I'm worthless or alone or unlovable. And I've rejected myself, so why wouldn't I think others would reject me? What would happen if I didn't reject myself? What would happen if I started loving me? What would happen if I allowed myself to be powerful? What would happen if I thought I was enough? I'm ready to start feeling that. I'm ready to start to allow that into my body without it triggering these fears. And I'm asking my subconscious mind to relax and to let go of these fears of inadequacy and the fear of rejection, thinking I'm not enough, I'm worthless, and thinking I'm not good enough, or smart enough, or pretty enough, or rich enough. Opening up my consciousness to see this programming that I have going on from the traumas and the things I experienced in my childhood. From religion, from my family, from schools, from the media, from my culture. It's all right to see this. And I can start to allow my true self to come out. I can start feeling safe to be me. In this moment, I am safe. In this moment, I am free to be me. And I can start to take control over my thoughts and my feelings and my actions that are all related to these fears. I can be in control of me. I can't be in control of others. And there I feel powerful. And if I start to tell myself that I'm worthy, that I'm enough, and that I'm powerful, then maybe I'll stop judging other people. And I'll stop judging myself and being so critical and disappointed and thinking that I have to turn myself inside out in order for other people. And instead, I can start to take care of myself and express who I really am in the world and feel safe doing that one step at a time. And if I start to respect me, then I'll respect others. And if I see the love that is me, then I'll see the love that's in others. And if I understand my power, my connection to myself, to my thoughts, to my feelings, to my actions, to nature, to other people, and to Source, or God, or quantum field, whatever you like, I'll never feel alone. I can never be rejected. Because I'm really only rejected when I reject me. So I'm going to allow that rejection of myself to start to dissolve so that I'm feeling more peace and calm and deeply caring for myself. And then I can see possibilities and potential in the future, allowing myself to make little changes step by step that allow me to be authentically me, to allow me to be successful in my life, and to know that I deserve it, that I am capable of it, that I am worthy of it, and that I can do this. All right, take a nice deep breath. We covered a lot. Covered a lot. So, what I want you to do is now let's go back to fear of the rejection. So I want you to feel the fear of rejection. I'm alone, unlovable, worthless. Feel into that and rate that again 1 to 10 and see where you are. And then go to fear of inadequacy. I'm not enough. And whatever your enoughs were, check in with that. 1 to 10, where are you now? Some of you might be laughing. It really is like once you kind of get this and it gets down towards 1 or 0, it's like, how could I have ever been thinking that? How could I ever be worried about that? And then go to powerlessness. I am powerless. 1 to 10, where are you now? So that's like I can't do it, I don't have support, I don't like being out of control. I need to control things. I can't relax. I don't like change. Bullying. Yeah, check in with all those and just see where you're at now. And just have some compassion. Hopefully what happens with this is, depending on where you're at, it can be an opening, just a little opening that you start to feel some freedom. And I would just let wherever that constriction was with all those fears, like imagine that from the base of your spine, your life force energy is a brilliant, beautiful flame of fire. And that light, or it could be also source light mixed in with that, radiates to where all that energy of fear was, so that you just start to feel your own light, your own energy flowing up through your body, taking up that space, your energy field expanding, starting to feel who you are, starting to feel like, allow yourself, like, oh, what's that feel like, right? And some of you, it might blow you right open, clear you right out. Although it will come back. You'll feel good. You can feel good and feel free at this time. And then there's sort of we move on these spirals. So and it's like good to go to the next level, and that's great. And there'll be little things that come up, and just do this again, or just tap on the things that you see that are happening, and that will just start to release. And like I said, what would happen if you did this tapping and it started at 20 minutes? So so you can just go, after you've gone through this once, then just go back to 20 minutes and it starts the tapping session there. And then you can do this for a week and see what happens. Also know that you're going to start to see where these fears are showing up in your life, right? So you can, and then it's not only just knowing this and clearing the energy, the fight or flight that goes on, but it's also now in real life, one of the things that you need to do is start taking different actions, is knowing like, oh, there's that fear, I'm afraid that I'm not enough, and so I know that's not true, so I'm not going to let that stop me from taking this new action or going to this new place. So the big part is you start living it, right? You don't know something until you are living it. So that is your practice, is clear it, then go out and start living these things newly, working on it, and be compassionate and be easy with yourself, and loving towards yourself, and deeply caring towards yourself. Take care of yourself while you're doing this. You don't have to take any leaps and bounds. This is not about, pushing yourself in such a way that you pushing yourself into stress. Stress isn't going to get you anywhere, but it's learn about yourself. Learn, where did your traumas come from in childhood? What were those traumas? And traumas can just be, you're treated a certain way over time, so that it got you, some people think that, so if you got any nicknames, or like if you're clumsy, or you're a pig, or, oh, you're not athletic, or something like that, those little things over and over again, those things are some of the fear of rejection, or not feeling good enough, right? And feeling powerless, like you couldn't do it, right? So after a while, people just stop you from doing it because they were tired of you trying. But don't you give up on you. If that's something that you want, you go for it. So anyway, main point is, find out where your traumas were. Find out where your conditioning is. Did it come from the media? A lot of women, it's the sexism in our world today. Never feeling that you're adequate as a man, as capable of a man. A lot of the things in there, I'm not good enough, come from suppression, right? Come from a variety of avenues. So it depends on, it could be that your influence about how your mother and father work together? If there was a divorce, what happened? Who had the money? How did things go with that? There's so many variables. But if you go find yours, and then you can see, oh, how that pattern is played out in your life over time, now you can just see it's a pattern, but it isn't who you are. And by releasing this and doing the work, you can change your life and change it to a new pattern, a new movie, with new results that you can really enjoy and express yourself more fully and more authentically. So I hope this was helpful. If you have questions, leave comments. If you want to, please share this with somebody that you think would benefit from it. I would love that. I could use that. Would love that help, because I really want to serve a lot of people. And just email me or make a comment and I will get back to you. I answer everything. And again, this is Marilyn O'Malley at marilyno'malley.com. Take care, love, live, and matter.